We had a new campaign and a different GM, so I wanted to try something different from the norm. An archer sounded like an interesting challenge, so I built one. Tracking my ammo, scouting to plan combat, inevitably getting killed in close combat, because I literally don't have a second weapon. I was ready for the whole thing from start to death. The first game day, we have the party magically split up, so I climb a tree to look for them. Naturally, the embodiment of death appears in front of me and plucks out my eyes. I am now a blind archer. I hear a pack of rabid dogs apparently coming up to me, so I do the only thing that makes sense now that I am worse than useless, and fall out of the tree to lay down and let the dogs kill me. The GM says I passed the test. Turns out death was some kind of Zen embodiment, and now I'm a monk, so I don't need a bow. I told him that I keep waiting for the dogs. Getting eaten alive by dogs has gotta be better than being railroaded, right? But just because you're a monk doesn't mean you don't have to be an archer. Now that you're a monk, you just tell them you want to play a kensei. See, you're following along, it's just a little malicious compliance. Oh look, this is the kind of monk that can use bows too. Well DM, if I can't be an archer anymore and I have to be a monk, the rules are the rules. What was the DC for spotting the figure running into the woods? 18. Oh, I got an 18. Oh. The creature wasn't real. How is this not a standard term for someone that hogs the spotlight? You got a point there. Everyone, look at me! I'm the centaur of attention. I still don't know what this item in my bag is. Stone? Medium size? Enchanted? Are we following the short rest rule for item identification? Can potions be tasted to identify? No, they can't be tasted. So the only way to identify them is an arcana or a medicine check. I thought tasting was rules as written. Sure, why the flock not? Go ahead and give everything away and make the story useless. I was just asking. It's just a potion, bro. He's gonna find out what it does anyway after he tastes it. What, is he just going to be drinking a false potion of healing and dying on the floor from poison? Just frothing at the mouth and the party's surrounding him and he just turns over to them like, I can't quite put my finger on what this potion does. It's got a really bitter, poisony taste though. So this is what our voice channel looks like about 90% of the session. Yeah. Something tells me your group isn't that interested in the game. Just a hunch. Or maybe they're just muted because they like to hear your narration, and they don't want to interrupt that, RPG Horror Stories users writing 10 paragraphs of backstory just to end it with, so then the DM used the slur, and we all quit. Oh, it can always be worse. Like stories that use letters instead of names. Or when there's two characters who are of the same character class, and they call them both Paladin, haha. The time I tried to play D&D in high school. At least in 5th edition. I've never played. Well, I did try in high school. I bought the DM's guide and everything. Oh, well, it's a lot of fun. It's just that RPGs can be way more fun. My fucking DM never gave it back. What? And we only ever played like 3 times. We had it scheduled for once a week. He would just ghost every week. 3 times over the course of like a semester and a half. Our one encounter was against like 15 wolves. It took the entire session. The DM was also a player who was a rogue that immediately stealthily robbed us all. All of this is bad. Indeed. Fuck you, DM. Why 15 wolves? I have no idea. This was 3.5, I think. Why would you do that to yourself? You had to... Oh. Well, 3.5 is a good game, debatable, but still. It still took like an hour to fight those wolves. Yeah, that's normal. Well, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. He forced me to be a human fighter, and just gave me full plate armor at level 1. Why? Ugh, horror story DM. 2 feats, yes. To be fair, I wanted to play an edgelord lone wolf dark elf, which makes me cringe. I don't think we literally ever did dialogue. Wait, no, we tortured a goblin or something. You could post this on Reddit and probably get a lot of karma, and then it would get screenshotted by some text-to-speech shorts YouTuber. LMAO. Probably. Joke's on you. It got read by a talking bird on the internet instead. For context, I was asking if I could be a former member of the church that was put into slavery as a pawn bid for power, and would rise up and cleanse the corruption from within. This was his response after I asked what if my character was female instead, when he said my character would have been castrated as a member of the church.
So, unless you are a follower to the goddess of life or fertility, your genitals will be burned from the insides, and your chests will be cut off, as to not tempt any outsiders.
Oh, definitely, because of how tempting an incinerated body is. You know, when you read stuff like this, you start to think to yourself that maybe the Satanic Panic people may have had a point. You've seen RPG horror stories, but have you ever seen a horror story written into the rules? Devils that belong to a wider conspiracy work to damage their enemies' future capabilities, often in a nasty, spiteful way. When PCs have animal companions, for example, devils make a policy of attacking and killing those creatures. Betezu are especially fond of sneaking up and slaughtering tethered or leashed animals left behind by an exploring party. Whether they're hitting animals or PCs, devils believe in finishing their work before moving on to a fresh opponent. Thus, they often strike disabled or dying opponents until they're dead, or make a coup de grace attack if battle conditions allow. After all, what sense does it make to strike down an enemy, only to have someone heal her up to full strength moments after the battle concludes? If you play devils properly, your players are likely to whine and complain that you're out to get them. Just remember, the devils make you do it. Oh, I'm sure the players would just love to hear that excuse. Never change, D&D 3.5. Never change. Not exactly a horror story, just painful. This happened a while ago. Posted on LFG looking for people to play in a Dark Souls-like campaign I was running. Get a lot of people interested. Set up a Discord, invite people, get everything ready. Have like 4 players, and a day before session 0, one player tells me he can't make it. That's fine. I DM some people I didn't initially invite and tell them a spot is free. A few of them say they found other games or lost interest, but one person is down. We get through session 0, but going on to session 1, 3 people drop without saying a word. I invite a longtime friend to the campaign. We've dropped from 4 players to 3 though. One of my players no-call no-shows like 5 times. When I eventually DM him and ask him what's up, he says it's because one of our players is younger, 15, and he's worried how he'll handle the darker world of Dark Souls. I managed to convince him to actually play, but I was getting burned out. After a few more sessions, I announced that the constant game of leaving and joining has dimmed my enthusiasm, and the game was over. In a way, his game was just like Dark Souls. Every step a hurdle, people leaving or giving up before they got started, and dragging your best friend into it, only for it to be a lost cause. All it needed was a Berserk reference and some funny hats. One-line horror story. I don't need the character mancer, man. I pretty much memorized everything in the character sheet. I'll send it to you the day before the game. Yeah, no. Anyone who sends you their character sheet the day of either A, doesn't care, B, doesn't want to admit that they have no idea what they're doing and needs immediate help because they wrote 4 for all their ability scores. C, is planning on secretly bringing their level 20 Tiefling Angel Sorcerer Paladin hybrid from a previous campaign. Or D, they genuinely forgot about it because they were busy, because they're adults with jobs and sometimes it's hard to do even simple things because you just got back from work and have a million other things to do and okay, maybe I'll give you the benefit of the doubt for this one. If you're a Crow's Perch patron, you give money, like our Burbs Cross, Damien Girard, Novatonix, Shepdog, and Reuven Gritters. Counts of Quills give more money. Very good. Like Shar K, Kurito Kazuto, Critical Kunic, Evix, King Drazil, Christian Pip, Cosmosis, Kooky Spooks, Rikus, Vincent, Haley Thompson, Zero Fang, and Netscape Navigator. And then we have the Barons of Beaks, like Kuntos Weasel, MoetisMaou, Chunky Salsa, Tech Blog, Kurestor, Goddesspawn, AModestPastry, Jester King, Gintahl, Misfit, Gibber-Woods, Wormy, MulQueeny, Den of the Drake, McYeetly, and Onya. Psst, Hey, if you wanna give $10 to the Crow's Perch instead, you could be like the Dukes of Feathers, like the Forgotten Druid, Jarett Suhr, Blues Otters, Jarett Zemlin, Staniel Das Boot, Henna, General Constantine Chase, HappyRex, Duck Salty 96, and Acroth. Bow bow bow, it's a short video. It's a short video. The video is short and it's not long. It's not long. It's not.